it draws a line. Oh, yeah, the recording. And yeah, it draws a line. And then you can click on the line, hit delete on your keyboard, and everybody sees it. So, or you can just draw that line again, type in line. Bam. Hit enter, hit escape. Okay, real quick. The buttons are going to be pushing most on this in this workshop are escape. So the top left of your keyboard, that button's going to help you do a lot in AutoCAD. So you see how up here, every time I hit escape, it hits cancel. There's going to be a lot of times where you get stuck somewhere in an actual function. You just want to cancel it because you don't want to break stuff. So just hitting cancel, it's going to get you out of pretty much every command. It's just a little tip, but yeah, let's go back to this. So this is, the command line, how you do everything. You type whatever you want. You want to draw a circle, you type circle. You want to copy this object, type copy, and you just hit the object. It gives you instructions, so you can see right here, select object, select, and you hit enter. You grab it and you copy it. So now you have two of them. And then another thing is the selection box, this green one. You can see I just have to touch these two objects, let go, and I just click on my mouse to bring that up. Let go, and it selects both of them. Let me know if I'm going too fast also, because I might be going too fast for you guys.
Alejandro, I have a quick question.
Yeah, no
where's the command tool, or is
the command line?
Yeah, that.
This thing, it should pop up down here. Oh, sorry, it should pop up down here.
Where?
Down here. You see where I'm at?
Oh, okay, thank you.
If you start typing as well, you'll see it's wherever your text is. Sometimes you guys will have, some of the newer versions have this thing called dynamic input. So you'll start typing and it'll show up right next to your cursor.
Okay, I found it.
Which is cool, but for people who've been using AutoCAD for a long time, they don't like this. But for like new users, it's really this dynamic input down here. This little thing down here, it's really useful because you can do like circle and circle right here. You just basically in AutoCAD, whatever you type, you can draw. So don't worry, it's gonna get more interesting than just the command line. I just have to show you these things so you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And then here's the other thing. There's this thing called snapping. If you've used other programs, you know what that does. So say I have this line here. I type line as well. And now you'll see these little green things pop up, like that green little triangle. And I go over here, you'll see this green little box. You'll see these green little boxes over here. And those are to snap. Like you can draw from that point. You just grab it and you move it. You can draw from these little endpoints over here. You can also draw, if you type line, you can draw from midpoints. Snaps are really important when you want to be really precise, because you obviously can't zoom in all the way to the, oh yeah, zooming in, just scroll on your mouse. You scroll and you zoom in. That's another thing. But yeah, you can't zoom in all the way and hit precisely that endpoint. So snapping this stuff is really useful. Actually, let me do something real quick. Should have done this earlier, but I could make those little boxes bigger, but we'll do that. That's too late now. But yeah, so if you type in O snap, just O snap, hit enter, it'll show you all the things you could snap to: endpoints, midpoints, center, geometric center, nodes, and you guys can play around with this later. So you can do, what does insertion mean, or what does nearest mean? And you can turn them on and off. Most people, anyone who's drafting, you'll see they have them on because it makes drafting a whole lot easier. But it's personal preference. And then the other thing I just showed you guys was this little green box, right? It's called a lasso. So if you click anywhere on your screen when you're not in a command and you click somewhere else, it'll make this green box. And anything this green box touches, you select. You see all these items, all these lines got selected. Now, similarly, if you click anywhere on your screen and drag towards your right, a blue box will pop up. So blue boxes only select the things that are inside them. Like I just let go of this blue box, you'll see these two lines got selected. It only selects the things that are inside them. So it's really good if you want to be just kind of only want this line, and you just get that line because only that line was inside the blue box. All right, now let's do green box. So you see green box, you'll see these lines highlight as I go by them. You'll see them get like a little color. So it selected those two lines, even though those two lines weren't fully inside the green box. So that's the difference between green boxes and blue boxes. And now I was doing this with Jonathan earlier and he kept doing this, so I'll show you guys. If you click and then hold, it actually like sketches out a little blob for you. So if that happened to you, that's fine. And it's the same way, if you click and hold and drag to your right, it'll sketch out a little blue box. And you can like drag like, oh, I want this whole thing right here. Those are just those two things. And now let's go into shapes. I know this is kind of slow, but I have to show you guys this thing if I want to show you any of the other more advanced stuff. Shapes, anything you could think of, you can type. Rectangle. Oops. Rectangle. And it types a rectangle and it's one spot, two spot.
Alejandro, for that, like when you type something, you don't have to press anything, right? Just type it.
You type it and hit enter. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case you guys were just typing stuff. So you type it and hit enter. So you'll see rectangle pops up here. And then you'll see option. I think I spelled it wrong too. But you'll see it autocorrects for you. So smart like that. So you'll see options like rectangle. It'll start trying to predict what you're trying to do. So I just want a rectangle. And right here it says specify first corner. Or each command has a bunch of options, usually chamfer, elevation, thickness. Don't worry about those at all right now. Trust me. Just worry about making the rectangle. Bam, now you have a rectangle. And like I showed you guys earlier, type in circle. You can go to the midpoint of that rectangle, bang, you have a circle. Those are just basic shapes. And then if you want something, a pentagon or a hexagon, you can type polygon, enter the number of sides, 6, then hit enter, and just specify here, and hit enter again, and then you can just draw your hexagon. Like I said, if you don't know what an option means, just hit enter and it'll default to the choice for that option, which is good about AutoCAD. And then if you just mess with this hexagon. So those are your basic shapes. But yeah, you can't do triangle. Triangle's not gonna do anything. Yeah. So, but you can just use lines. Oops, line. And go from this one, go up, and then go back down, and then you can select this circle, delete it, and then right here you just made a house. See? All right, delete that. And if just in case if you're wondering, I'm just selecting it and pushing the delete key on my keyboard. I'm selecting an object and then just hitting delete on my keyboard. You can also select an object and type out erase, and it'll erase it. So whatever works best for you guys. All right. Now what else? Oh yeah. Now it's up to you guys what you guys want to draw with these shapes. I'm just gonna draw a little person real quick. We won't go into it. Yeah. This is to show you guys about layers. I know this is all basics, but trust me, you guys are gonna want to rewatch this video later when you get a job so you can remember all these things. If they're gonna ask you about all these things, then it'll help. So this is my little person. Not the best, but okay. This shirt's still messed up. Okay. So now I'm going to show you guys about layers. Actually, let me close these things. You won't have these things showing up. I just popped them up. So if you guys have done any sort of Photoshop or anything like that, you'll kind of understand layers. But a lot of people who do drafting make the mistake of just drafting on a 0 layer, which is this, the only layer you have. So if you go up here to your home tab, layer properties, this whole thing will pop up. And if you hit this little box with like a little sun next to it, right here, you'll get a new layer. So I can type shirt, body, and you want to name these layers the names of objects in your actual drawing. Okay.
Can you repeat that, how you got there again, please?
Yeah. So right here, and if you go to the home tab, you hit this layers properties box. And if you don't have this, if you hover over stuff, it'll tell you the command you need to use. So if you just type in layer right here, so if you were to type in layer, it'll pop up this little box as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Basically, AutoCAD's really, really old, and everything used to be done on the command line. But as time has gone by, they've added all these like graphic stuff. So basically, anything you see as a graphic can be done on the command line. Yeah, you'll see a lot of like old guys who only use the command line. Luckily, most of them are retiring, so that's where you guys come in. Yeah. So now I'll show you, like if I click on this thing, let me type in actually another command. If you type properties, this other box will pop up somewhere, and it won't pop up necessarily like dot, like minus. So it might pop up somewhere like this on your screen. But if you just grab this little dark gray bar and drag it to your corner, it'll dock it for you. So now you see I'm clicking on his shirt, right? You'll see up here it says color, layer. These are all the properties this thing has. You can change any of these. And if you go to vertex, you can change them all individually. Like you see on his shirt, the little green X, you can change each one of these little vertices. So it's really customizable. You can change it to clothes. All these other properties, don't worry about them because it gets really complicated. I could probably spend the whole hour on polylines alone. But yeah, on layer, this is what we care about right now. Layer, you go to shirt. And now this, obviously you guys didn't draw this guy. So right now you guys can just, if you did, good, but you guys can just follow along. But you guys, just watch. So this shirt now has the property of has the layer of shirt. Let me grab his head. Same thing. I'm going to change his property to head. And I'm going to use that green box again to highlight his body parts. I know this. And then I could change this to, what was this? Oh yeah, body. Now I could go in here, change his shirt. And these are all the properties. Everything in AutoCAD has properties, whether it be a layer, an object, everything has properties. And sometimes there's properties inside of properties. So right here, these are all the properties of a layer. So it has, I hate it. Real quick rundown. This isn't for you guys to remember right now, but if you come back to the video, it'll help. Okay, so this just means if it's on or off, if it's frozen, if it's locked. On or off just means if you can see it. Frozen means if you can see it and it takes up memory space. Lock means that if I lock this layer, anything on this layer, I can't move around. I can't mess with really. Plottable right here means what? That means when you want to actually make a PDF of this thing or show it off or print it out, this determines whether you want it seen or not. And some objects you just want them in the background, so you want to have them not plottable. This is the one we're going to mess with right now, color. So if I come here and change it to red, and then if I go back to my drawing,
Very good.
Yeah, you can see it's red. You can see his little shirt's red. But then also, if you go over here, color, it says by layer. but you could also change it manually right here to cyan or blue, whatever. But over here on the actual layer, it still says it's red. So anything on this layer will be red, but you can manually force colors on certain objects, which you never want to do because you will get in trouble for doing that. And that the whole reason of layers is you can put whole entire groups of objects into that layer. So changing his shirt, you saw that I could just pick his shirt. I know I zoomed out. Don't worry about that. But you could just pick his shirt and manually change his shirt color, right? To whatever you want. Now, if I grab him and select all of them, this is another command, array. You see it up here, array. I hit enter, and I want a rectangular array, so I could just hit enter again. And now let me make more of him. 20.
Mhm.
Do you guys get lost a little? So now there's a lot more of them. So this is more like what you're gonna see in an actual project. Not this whole array of little people, but you'll see like, let's see. Let me explode this so it looks better. So each one's an individual object instead of all together. And so you'll see if I click this shirt, it only shows his shirt. So if a project manager tells you like, hey, I need you to change all the little guys' shirts color, like if you go here and change them one by one, it's gonna take you about like 20 hours and then you're gonna get in trouble. So, but if you go here, shirt, and they're all on the same layer, so you can change it to green, hit OK, you'll see all their shirts change to green. So this is why you need to have everything on layers. When I started this, I said everyone often draws on just 0 layer, which kind of slows everything down because you would have to do everything manually. So drawing on layers is really important. So make sure any object you draw has a layer. Like he has a head layer. And if I wanted to turn it off, so if you go here, head, and this little off button, they all lose their head basically. So you can control entire groups of layers. This freeze button does the same. The on button and the freeze button do the same thing. It's just AutoCAD itself handles it differently in the background. So if you ever need to turn anything off, just use either one of those. And the body too, like you can just take away the whole bodies with one click instead of having to delete everyone. All right, so that's that. Oh yeah. And then the one thing that they'll probably have you guys doing if you are working, dimensioning. So up here in the annotations tab, there's a dimension button, or you can type in dimension, DIM, and then it'll ask you what kind of dimension you want. Or you can just click on the object, and you see how these little green snaps automatically happen.
Mm-hmm.
And bam, you just have to click the two points that you want to measure, and then once you have that, it'll drag you out it'll drag out this thing, and then you can hit escape. This thing's tiny. That's because the people I drew are really huge. So if I zoom into it, you'll see, zoom in with your mouse, just a heads up. You'll see it says 13.7 feet. Units is a whole other thing, but we're not going to worry about that. So right now we're going to assume it's 13.7 feet. So that's how you measure stuff. So you can either type DIM for dimension, click on 2 points. Once you click on 2 points, if you zoom in here, it'll have the dimension already. And now it just asks you where do you want to place it. And then, let's see. Oh, that's another thing they're going to ask. I'm not going to do anything in AutoCAD, but this is another thing you guys should know. If they ever give you papers and they say, I need you to fix all these red lines is just a term for any corrections. 9 times out of 10, if they give you papers and they say, I want you to fix these red lines, you're going to see it written up with pen, usually red ink. That's why they call it red lines. So you have to go into these drawings, say like, and then they're like, oh, I need this color changed, this specific color changed. And you go and change it to whatever you want. But that's just a term that you'll hear. I just want to throw that out there. All right. Now, not necessarily the fun part, but a little thing you have to know if you want to do this is model space and paper space. So this right now where we're doing all our drawings and where we're messing around and where you're going to be doing all your actual project work is going to be called model space. This is where you model everything, right? Oh, no, I drew a lot of these guys. Yeah, this is model space. Now, if you go click over here, you'll see layout 1 and layout 2. And this is where you're going to put together your actual PDFs or actual like printed papers that you're going to go and show off. Right now, it doesn't look like much, but you'll see all our little people in there. Because this box is called a viewport. You'll see it right here in the properties, viewport. And then these boxes, I feel like I'm going super fast, so I'm not, just slow me down, guys, if you guys need me to. But I'm just throwing a lot of information at you guys, so.
Feel free to ask any questions if you guys have one.
Yeah, because I'm trying to give you guys as much information as possible, so you guys are ready to go, and you guys at least kind of know the terms. But feel free to slow me down. If we need to do another one of these, we will. But yeah. Yeah, this is a viewport right here. I like selected it. This thing, viewport. So these things, they only exist in paper space. And this right here, this thing we're looking at right now is paper space. You'll see if you zoom out, everything around it is gray. And this black box is basically what you're gonna print out if you were to hit print right now. And then these little viewports are windows into this into model space. So if you were to double click inside the window, it would bring you inside model space. You'll know because of this little cube up here. The north, south, east, west. There's a name for that, but we won't worry about that right now. So you can zoom into these little guys. Say your boss is like, hey, I only want to see like a small cluster of them and print it out so I can see the actual details. So you would zoom in, double click outside, and now you can adjust this window to only show what you want to see. And then you can go up here and print. Don't worry about it. Let's not print because there's a whole bunch of settings that I have to go into. But yeah, you can go in and print it, and then you'd be able to see just the things you want. So that's viewports, paper space, and model space are an important concept because if you're gonna work with, because you work with all three, you'll work with all three of them daily if you're doing AutoCAD. And I'm assuming most of you are power engineers working for the city, and the city loves to use AutoCAD. Just a heads up. And then this is where you guys aren't going to be able to follow along because I have some files pre-prepared. So if you guys have been following along, great. If not, just sit back and watch a little. I'm going to open something. Okay. So this thing that's opening, we're in paper space. This, you see where I have like my name, the Casa de Ley logo, Arduino Uno, all these drawn by, checked by, all this. If I click on it, it's one whole object. If I click on any of it, you'll see all of it highlight blue. That's because this thing it's a title block, and title blocks or any other things like that are called external references. So you pull them from another file. So if I were to type in xref right now, it'll show you every other file that's in this file. So let me pop this up a little more. You'll see right here, this drawing works. You'll see when I click on it, this thing highlights. So it's the workshop title sheet. That's what I called it. And then these two other things are pictures attached to this drawing. So XREFs work, the purpose of XREFs is to save memory in this specific drawing. So you don't have to draw all these little lines in this specific drawing. You can pull it from another drawing. How's everyone doing? because I feel like I'm going super fast and you guys are just kind of. Is everyone okay? Feel free to unmute.
To be honest, I kind of got lost with what you just showed us right now. What was that for? The pictures that you just mentioned? Like, what's the advantage of that?
Yeah.
The files?
I have the same question.
Yeah. Okay. So.
It's okay, Alejandro. You're doing good.
Yeah. Thanks. So external references. Let me show you the actual file system.
So I would think those are like different layers, but you said those are different files, right?
Yeah. Hold up. Give me a sec. So if I were to go here. So can you guys see this little window?
Mm-hmm.
Select image or select. Ignore the select image file. Let's go all files. So if I go here, this workshop project exhibit is the main file. That's the one I'm in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I go in external references, you'll see I have a workshop title sheet file, an image file, and another image file.
Okay.
So these I just named it external references, but you can name it whatever you want. These three things are getting pulled into this one. And what that does with this small project, it doesn't do much. But with larger projects where you have chunks of where you have drawings that are, this one's 43 kilobytes. But sometimes you'll have drawings that are reaching half a gig or like almost a gigabyte of just straight data in there. So you want to break those up so they're separate each drawings, and you can pull them all together using external references into one drawing. That's going to save you a lot of memory, have your computer crash a lot less, and it's going to save you a lot of time.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you'll for sure see these when you get into, if you start working with AutoCAD. That's why I want to kind of expose you to them. So that's what those are. So that's just, it's a hard concept to grasp in itself, but it's really useful once you get the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this right here is going to be your basic layout of like any exhibit. So you're going to have like a title, Arduino Uno, name, lead engineer, drawn by, checked by, date. These are the basic things. You could have a lot more, you could have a lot less. And then you'll have like a legend up here that shows like what the symbols in your actual drawings are. And you'll have notes. These exhibits are meant so you can give it to someone else. They can look at it and redesign your whole project by just looking at these exhibits. That's what these exhibits are for, or like plan sets. These are all words you're going to hear later on, but yeah.
So this is like the basic format of a mechanical drawing, right? That we will be seeing in the work field. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like a title at the corner, or like who verified, like what you have, and then
who drew it, your
and
company.
then notes. Okay.
Yeah, the title of this picture I just pulled off the internet, so I didn't sketch this out because I didn't have enough time to do it. But I'll give you guys this whole file and a few other files as well, so you guys can go in and play with this, and you guys can use this to like make your own projects. Instead of this picture of the Arduino here, you can put your own thing and put your own legend and your own notes, print it out, and it'll look really clean, and you can put it on your resume or in your portfolio and whatnot. So that I'll give you guys this later, but that's besides the point. So yeah, that's model space, paper space, no references, title blocks. Oh, blocks themselves. You see these little things right here? These little symbols?
Yeah.
Let's zoom
Yes.
in. Each one is drawn like with an individual shape, like this is a circle, this is a line. But say I wanted to redo this, or if I wanted to take it to another drawing, I can convert this into a block. And blocks are basically like, well, let me show you. If I type in insert, I'm gonna pull a block that I have. Browse. This fence post block. Oh no, this scalable. Let's do this fish. Yeah. So this block now, I have it right here. Ooh, that was huge.
Did you draw that fish?
No, I found this in my company's like files. I don't know why it existed in there, but I just pulled it because it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of random.
Yeah, no, I found a bunch of these other fish too, and I was like, why the hell? Who's drawing this fish? But this is just to prove a point. Like, if I need a fish, I don't have to draw it by hand. Somebody already drew this, created the block, and pulled it in here for me, and made it for me. So I can just pull in the block itself and put it in here. So I don't have to keep redrawing these all. So that's what blocks are. So they're really useful and they'll help you out a lot. Another thing about blocks, if I go to my model space, if I click insert again, and I'm going to insert a different block this time. There's two types of blocks that you'll see. There's going to be that fish one that's just a drawing, and I'm going to insert this fence post one. This fence post block, now if you, whatever. If you get those kind of errors, just click OK. These fence post blocks, this fence post block is something called the dynamic block. Because I can change how it looks. So if I just click on this drop down arrow, oh, sorry, it was too big. I click on this drop down arrow, go from 8, 6, and then I can do custom size, and I can just grab it, extend it, and stuff like that. So you can make these like special kind of blocks, which would really impress like your employer, because 9 times out of 10, the people they have like doing AutoCAD for them right now are all older, and none of them want to touch these kind of things, like these new features like dynamic blocks. Most of them hate X references and like stuff like that. So you can make these things because we're obviously like, we've been using computers for a while. So there's tutorials on YouTube, obviously, that teach you how to do all these like dynamic blocks. So these are all things you can learn to help impress like your employer once you get the job, obviously. But yeah. Let's see, blocks. Yeah.
So we have an advantage for being young. Is all you're saying?
Yeah, you have. I know it sounds like, oh, do you have a huge advantage when you're young? Because you actually are willing to learn things and like actually try these. At my work, there's been quite a few guys who are older and they just can't adapt. Like, new features come out and then they just get let go because they can't perform as fast as like the younger guys. Because yeah, they have the experience, but we can just, you see, they would have to redraw this fence every time. And if they wanted a 4-foot fence or a 6-foot fence, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I can just click 6, and it's a 6-foot fence. Imagine drawing this fence, drawing like 50 of them, and then your boss tells you, hey, I need you to redraw that fence and make it 8 feet. I can just go in here, click it, and 8 feet, and then bam, it's done. They'd have to redraw the fences for each one. But that's besides the point. That's more like just personal and like stuff like that. So you can ignore that. But yeah, you guys have to understand, you guys have an advantage by being young.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
Can you do 3D?
Can I do 3D?
Yeah, on like.
Yes.
You can? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's gonna be a whole other thing, because you see right now we're working in 2D.
Yeah.
But I don't know if your guys' AutoCAD came with this little thing down here that has all these options. So you can click on this little gear and it says 3D modeling. This, hopefully it doesn't crash, because this 3D modeling uses a lot of memory. And we only tested it with 2D modeling earlier with Jonathan. So this is now you're in 3D. You'll see your home page turns into a box, extrude, smooth, like all these features. I wasn't planning to do this, but I mean, I could do a little bit of 3D if you want. Teach you guys to, huh?
I said it's okay because I mean, yeah, you need a fast computer.
I mean, I can, yeah, I can. Do you guys know? It's just,
It's
I had
fine.
to plan out. All right, Lily. All right, so I'm gonna go back to 2D. If you want, if just let me know, Lily. I could show you 3D later on.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
just
really want to learn that?
actually does 3D.
Huh?
I just wanted to know if this software does 3D. So
Yeah, it does. But if you're gonna be doing 3D, you're probably gonna want to do SolidWorks or I think Fusion 360 for AutoCAD users. But yeah, this software can do just about anything any other software can do. But this is mostly geared towards 2D. And if you want to do 3D, you're gonna have to jump into those softwares because this does 3D really slow. But yes, Billy, you can do 3D.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. What was? Oh yeah. Another thing is the explode command. That's really useful. So if I click this, this is a block. But if I type in explode, now this thing is no longer a block. They're all individual things. So that's pretty handy. And then, oh yeah, the title block. Sorry about that. This is what I was doing earlier and I got sidetracked. So you see when the external reference. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. So external references, that's what we were talking about earlier. So when I click on this, you can see it's an external reference. So up here, the options for external references will pop up. And a lot of the times you'll have to just click on it and modify these texts. Like say you want to change it to say your name, you'd click on it, hit open reference. Just give it a second, it'll open the actual original file. And this is the file, and then you would go into here, double click it, and then you can edit stuff in here. You can change it to say, instead of Arduino Uno, you can say you could just have it say like Raspberry Pi or whatever project you're working on. That's why I'm telling you, I'm gonna give you this, and then you guys can change it, use it for your projects, and then hopefully print it out and have it on your portfolio as like an AutoCAD project you worked on.
Mhm.
So you can come here, you double click on these text boxes on the actual text, and then it's just like any other text editor. So you can just highlight all of this. Raspberry Pi. Click outside of the text and it changes it. So you just double click, like I said, and highlight it all. Jonathan. Just that simple. So you guys can take this later, edit it, do whatever you want. You can take out this calculator logo if you want.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So like, will you have like another workshop of how to show us, like, let's say we do a project, right? Like obviously we have to do the 3D. I'm the board you had, it was 3D, right? So would we have to do it 3D too, or like, do we use this program or SolidWorks? Like the white picture, the mechanical drawing.
That's what we were talking about with Jonathan earlier. So this drawing right here, it was done in 3D, and then they did the viewport to show you the top, side, and front view of it. So yeah, we can, like I told Jonathan, yeah, you can do this on 3D. But if you guys specifically want to start doing like this kind of thing, like Arduino PCB boards, it'd be better if we do an AutoCAD workshop where you guys can design these. Because I have Eagle on here, but you guys can design these, draw the circuitry yourselves, connect it, and make the PCBs. And then once you have those on AutoCAD, we could bring those here in the AutoCAD. And then break it up and make it look like this. And if you zoom into here, you can come into AutoCAD and dimension it all. Like they have here. This is millimeters, but yeah.
Yeah, by typing the dimensions on the command, right? Like how you showed us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll once you start actually working, you'll realize how interconnected a lot of these programs are. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's more optimized to do it in EagleCAD, which is this is another AutoCAD program. I don't think it'll open right now.
So for
Well,
sensors, I remember we used KiCad. Do you remember? Is it like EagleCAD? Like it was like you start from the circuit diagram to, and then it like I don't know.
yeah,
It would
it's
make
exactly
like
like
a
that.
drawing for you already. So is that what EagleCAD is?
Yeah, it's exactly like that, where you would have a circuit, you draw your
Mm-hmm.
circuit, you put a resistor, and then
Yeah.
you go into your PCB design, and it has those parts already in there for you. Oh yeah, see, EagleCAD doesn't let me use it because I didn't sign in. So, but yeah, you do that, and then when you go to your PCB view, you'll have those parts in there, and you can drag them around the
Mm-hmm.
PCB wherever you want to place them, and actually make your circuit. We made some in electronics lab as well. So I have experience with that EagleCAD as well. Um, if that's something you guys would be interested in doing, like an actual project where you make a whole PCB, you could talk to Jonathan about that, and I'll see if I can help you guys out with that. But yeah, that's
For
a
sure.
whole separate program.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Sorry if that's what you wanted to hop on.
No, this is really cool. Like, but like
Yeah,
like you need that drawing to kind of complete the whole picture. So that'd be cool.
yeah. Um, what's it called? Yeah, this is just to show you guys things you're gonna use in actual
Yeah.
industry, because I don't want you guys to have like to design that whole project yet not know the little things about AutoCAD.
Mhm.
So this is just showing you like
Ah.
the lines, the how to do these little notes, how to
Mhm.
make all these things like these with everything I've shown you right now.
Yeah.
You should be able to make these symbols, which I mean, it's not going to be quick, but you should be able to just drawing lines and simple shapes. And then, oh yeah, we're working on. Sorry. Do you guys have any more questions about that or anything like that?
I do have a question actually.
All right.
So for these little, because I remember like these little worksheets right here. Do you have to outline this whole worksheet yourself? Like that little box in the bottom right corner. Like, would you have to outline that yourself? I know you would like write the words yourself and everything, but like this whole template, you would have to do like outline yourself, right?
Yeah, you'd have to do it yourself, but chances are most places that I've been doing AutoCAD for a while, they have these already made for you. So say you go work at LAWP, they would give you an LADWP title block. That's what these things are called. So you can just throw it into drawings as an external reference, like I did here. Like,
Okay.
yeah, all those titles. This is what I made this yesterday, real quick, just so you guys can have this. But yeah, you'd have to outline everything. And then if I go back to here to my actual workspace, you'll notice that I changed the title sheet file, and now over here it says Raspberry Pi and it says Jonathan. So any changes you make in that other file come to this file. That's why X references are so useful. And now let me show you, because this doesn't look very nice. I'm not gonna, because it in AutoCAD it never looks nice. But when you preview it to PDF it, you'll see that this is this is the final product. Like this, you'll see. Obviously, you'd have notes here, but you'll see like you can show this to someone. You could say like, obviously it's not a Raspberry Pi, but you could say, oh, this is my Arduino Uno project, and like this is how I made it. This is my thing. This is me dimensioning it. Did all the notes. Did all the sort of legend. So if you show like a recruiter this, and you say like, hey, I built this all myself in AutoCAD, that puts you like ahead of the game, because as soon as you go into work, they won't just have you like doing like basic like intern stuff. They'll have you jumping into AutoCAD, jumping in, helping the engineers, working directly with the engineers. So you'll be in like that much faster. The chat. Oh,
This is kind of like the one that you're gonna print out, right? Because yeah, in the program it looks kind of weird with the different colors, but right here, this is the one that you can print out and take with your resume, right?
Yeah, this is what you would show the actual, like, the actual whoever you want to say. I was the person who designed Arduino, and I made this. I would print this out, give it to the manufacturer, and they could go draw it. So if you show a company that you know how to make these plans, you're that much more valuable because you can draft these up for them.
Mm-hmm. Now I have a question as well regarding that. Like when you print it out, does it come with that where it says produced by an Autodesk student version?
Yeah, it does because you obviously have student versions, but you're not gonna hear it from me. But you could go into like any Photoshop. There's online Photoshop where you just paint that white and it disappears.
Okay.
So
I'm
just,
dead.
just I've done that before where I had to do something real quick on this, and I just PDF this, send the PDF into a Photoshop or anything like that, or anything that draws. I know a few of you guys have iPads, so if you send this PDF in the Notability, color in these things white up here, they're produced by AutoCAD, and then re-export it as a PDF, then it looks fine. No one's gonna know that it's student version. And the only reason AutoCAD puts that on there is so companies don't try to download the student version and start actually making money from this. So you're just trying to use this to show off. So you're not going to get, technically not going to get in trouble for doing it. So just a heads up, you can do that.
All right.
Yeah. So you can see how this looks way nicer than just than this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other quick thing, you see like how I have all these colors.
Yeah.
When you start working, don't randomly assign colors to things because chances are each color is going to have a different uh, I don't want to get too much into details, but each color has its own thickness according to the company. The company sets up these things called color tables. They're called CTB files. And if you start like coloring these things different colors, like for my company, I don't have the CTB for my company. For my company, this blue makes it so when you print it out, it looks 3 times as thick as other lines, so they stand out more. And this red is actually when you print it out, it'll look thinner than it actually looks here. That's something that AutoCAD includes so people can really like dynamically adjust their line types and line scales. So that's these are just things I made mistakes on when I first started. So I'm just trying to let you guys know. Because trust me, I got yelled at a lot for doing a lot of things. I'm just trying to help you guys out.
Where were you working, Alejandro?
Huh?
Where were you working, or where are you working right now?
It's this civil engineering place. So they do a lot of plans for just construction and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys know what topographical maps are.
Yeah.
But they have those in the background. And AutoCAD has this feature. I'll show you it right now. Where if you select something and then click on it again and then drag it, it'll move it without you having to type in the move command. You see how it just moved it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna click undo. So you can just type in undo. So I did that a lot to the topographical maps, and that put a bunch of their stuff out of place on a project. So I got in trouble for that because I didn't know that happened. So I got yelled at for that and a few other things. But these are all little mistakes that like, because you obviously you saw I moved it and it looked out of place. But when you're dealing with background objects that you don't pay attention to, if you move it, you're not gonna notice it. So that's why these things are things you have to look out for. That's why if you type layer and go to the layers tab, that's why they have this option. Because this thing right here, it's currently on the annotation layer. You can see it up here.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go to annotations and lock it, you'll see it changes color as well. So now if I select it, I can't move it anymore. So the whole company learned we learned that we can lock it, and now all the topographical maps are locked because I moved that one time. So, I mean, people are gonna learn from your mistakes as well as you, and chances are you're not gonna get fired. So if you do make a mistake, own up to it. But I'm trying to help you guys as much as possible so you don't make these mistakes.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. That's why. I mean, everything I showed you earlier about these little people and the layers and whatever. It sounds like dumb, but I made this mistake before where everything wasn't on layers, and when just like in any other engineering field, you're working in teams. And when I did this, I think it was they needed fire hydrants in, and I just drew the whole fire hydrant in on the same layer. They needed like 15 of them, and I put them everywhere. And then I was like, okay, I'm done. Saved it, and then put it back on the server, the file. And another AutoCAD drafter grabbed it. He looked at it, and he was like, what the hell? Because he had to make changes to the fire hydrants, and they weren't on the same layer. They were all separate objects, and I got in trouble for that too. So these are things you have to like look out for, because it took him more time to fix my mistake than it would have if I just did it correctly the first time. So, I mean, I'm telling you all these, and you'll make these mistakes, and you'll probably make different mistakes because some other thing I forgot to tell you, which is fine. But I'm just trying to let you guys know that I'm trying to help you not make these mistakes, at least with layers. And I know it sounds silly just making little shirts, but it'll make sense more if you come back and like actually work in AutoCAD and watch this video and be like, oh, so I get it. You have to put all the objects in the same, so you can change their color at the same time. And you can do, if you go up here, you'll see this little freeze. It's the same as the layer freeze. So this one up here, so you can just click on it. And I can click on an object and freeze all their heads, so now none of them have head.
Oh.
Like this is like a thing that's kind of why I got in trouble for it too, because the other engineer didn't see a fire hydrant layer on here, and he was like, okay, and he froze it. And the layer I was drawing in had a bunch of other things in it, so when he froze it, he froze like half the drawing. So half the drawing turned off. Yeah, so you don't want to do that. And then you could just click this little sun, and it shows everything that's been frozen.
Okay.
So these are just little things. But yeah, I think that's my time. I think we got through most of the things I wanted to talk about. I got a little sidetracked midway through.
It was really helpful though. I think I learned a lot. I never used it before, but you know, at least now I know some of the.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Hopefully you guys, these concepts that I taught you are gonna be in every drafting or any like SolidWorks, AutoCAD, Fusion. You'll have layers, you'll have like copying, you'll have dimensioning, you have lines. So these things you can bring into other modeling programs as well. Heads up. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. It's my first workshop, so I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah, it was my first workshop. But yeah,
you did great, bro. You did absolutely great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know how teachers feel, because when you guys don't talk back, I'm like, oh shoot, what am I doing wrong? Like I messed something up. But yeah, if you guys want to learn more about this, let me know. I can teach you little things about it.
Did you like teaching us?
Huh?
I said, did you enjoy teaching us?
Yeah.
Like, would you do it again? Like,
yeah. I'd do it again. Yeah, I was talking to Jonathan about doing some other thing. I don't know if he's gonna do it or not, so I won't mention anything about that. But yeah,
I think it was really helpful, and
yeah.
I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, thank you. I would have been on my phone, honestly, doing nothing.
Yeah. Nah, but maybe another time I could do another workshop where we actually make a project you guys can have in your portfolio.
Yeah.
But for now, I just wanted to show you guys mostly the basics. But thank you guys, and I'll let Jonathan make any announcements he wants to make.
Yeah, just to I guess end up with the presentation. You know, thank you, Alejandro, again for the presentation. It was really helpful. Hopefully you guys can, use these skills, and now at least you can put it in your resume. Even though you don't know a lot of the software, you can use like the basics and expand on it. I think there's a lot of ways to learn more about AutoCAD online, like YouTube and things like that. But yeah, thank you, Alejandro. And just last announcements, later on we have the EIT um, study session where one of the, I guess, the professors, if you want to call it that, it's Justin, Sebastian, and Matthew, I believe. We're gonna start doing circuits. It's a EIT study session, just kind of like preparing to take the exam either this year or next year, depending on the schedules. And next week we have the movie night on Wednesday from 7:30 to 9, I believe. So yeah, if you're part of the group me, just look out for the Google Forms and everything. And if you want to attend, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask either on the chat or send me a text or right now. Anything that maybe Kim or Anthony wants to add?
I think you pretty much covered it, bro. Yeah, just like we said, like circuit analysis one later this